Hey everybody, welcome to Where I Stand, where I'm not gonna do that joke. Okay, so I'm gonna try real hard not to do that joke.
Yeah.
But
should we change the name?
no, but I should probably change our shirt. So we batch record our episodes and then we leak them out, throughout the week. And so we try to record 4 every Saturday. And so if you see me wearing the same shirt on 4 episodes, it's not just because we're bums, but that's why.
Right. I thought you just liked the shirt.
I do like the shirt. CPR, 6 Stones. 6 Stones in ministry here in DFW. And CPR is basically community powered revitalization, where we actually go out and volunteer. And so what happens is the church partnered with the city and we identify homes that fall into disrepair for various reasons. Sometimes it's a widow, sometimes a person disabled, sometimes a person a veteran, list goes on, all right? And then we go out and we help fix their home. We do siding, we do roofing, painting, stuff like that. I'm not gonna post pictures right now. I ain't got time for that. But it's
So
kind of
you're loving
impromptu.
your neighbor.
You should be loving our neighbor.
There you go.
It truly is. Church is part of the community for real. That's what it's
amazing.
supposed to be.
Yes, it is.
All right.
If you giving a cup to the least of these.
Up to the least of these. Steen did it to him.
Yes.
You know.
Thank you, Lord.
So it's your host, Ray Tucker.
And Jay Jones.
We're here again on Where I Stand, trying to explain to you where we stand on certain issues, certain cultural issues from a Christian worldview, from a Black perspective. And sometimes, we haven't really emphasized the Black perspective, at least as of yet, these first couple of episodes,
Right.
Or however you may watch these episodes or find your way to the episodes. When it's not always, especially when we're talking purely Christian biblical standpoints, there's not really much room to bring in an American viewpoint or a Black viewpoint to some degree. Right. So, but yeah, anyways, there's just caveat here.
We'll get there.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Well, we're going to get there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about some stuff. All right. I'm not going to give away clues right now, but we're still on the topic of sex. And it's a running gag. Again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, and you're not going to get it.
Right.
But and today we're going to talk about lust. And we're going to talk about the lust of the eyes, the mouth, the ears, and the mind. All right. Man, so we're going to jump right into it, right? Matthew 5:27 through 30. And you've heard the commandment that says you must not commit adultery. But I say to anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in her heart.
Don't you like the emphasis on marriage? You should not commit adultery with your eyes.
Yeah.
So this person's married.
Apparently.
Yeah. Marriage.
So, or some translation, you've already committed sexual immorality.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And like we mentioned before, like the only moral sex is within a marriage.
Absolutely.
Right? Any other sex outside of marriage is immoral or amoral, however way we want to say it. Same connotation. I like the way Job 31:1, or I should say how Matthew 5:27 kind of alludes back towards Job 31:1, where Job says, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look with lust at a young woman.
Yes.
And Job was going through it.
That's a good text.
Job was going through some things. If you don't know about Job, go read about Job. It might change your perspective when you start to complain about some things.
Right.
And but yeah, man, we've dealt with lust. I've dealt with lust. I mean, and it's an ongoing process because the world is a predatory towards anything that even has a resemblance of Christianity to it, right? And so it's kind of like the first point where we talk about let's go ahead and get into it. Guarding our heart and guarding our minds, right? Well, how do we do that? Well, we guard our eyes, guard against pornography, right? And man, there's so much in this, right? Just by itself. And
Just the word that pornography comes from, the Greek word porneia. There's so much in that. I know we're gonna talk about that, but
no, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's so much in that. I mean, this pornography is like it's everywhere. I mean, even within the church, there are people who are struggling with it. I respect and love the ministries that do try to combat this thing, because the enemy is really trying to use this in order to stifle individuals and to keep keep churches from growing. I mean, the numbers are higher with men, right? And men are leaders. You know, we are the ones who are to lead, as we've been talking about with the origins. And so, if I can get them distracted, it can cause a what's the word I want to look for? A lack of confidence before God. It can cause one to think that they're not a believer. It can let in other sins, give the enemy a foothold. I mean, there's so much within that, and so this is a real one. I mean, there are people doing it at work. People getting on work computers in order to access it. I mean, it's crazy.
It's so pervasive, you know. We forget to, like, I don't have the stats right now. I should have brought them up. Anyways, the point is that at a very early age, people get introduced to pornography.
Absolutely.
Very early age, you know. And if you think that the devil is going to hold off, I want to wait till 18. No. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. It doesn't matter what age.
He wants you.
I don't remember exact age I first got into pornography, but I remember being in my room. I must have been somewhere between 15 and 17 before I went off into the Navy. No, even earlier than that. But anyways, I remember, like, you probably don't remember Web TV, like back in the day, like long before we have it now, where we got smart TVs, you know, and then trying to get channels that you weren't supposed to get that were all kind of fuzzy, and like Cinemax,
okay, I do remember that.
Stuff like that, and you kind of sort of make out some things, you know. Man, we some hellions, but but yeah, like that was my first like run-ins with pornography and stuff like that, and you know, for me, it's a little bit later than most people, but I don't say most people, but some people, but still, it has this effect that now you've seen it, now you desire it, or you think it's real, or you think that's what women want, you know, and more often than not, it's not what women want. I mean, these people are actors,
Absolutely.
you know, especially when you talk about the professional porn. Those people are actors, you know. There's so many women that, you know, interviews out there of these porn stars that they'll tell you, like, oh yeah, they'll point to a scene, like, yeah, and that scene right there, it hurt.
I wasn't in pain.
I was in pain, you know, and you think I'm enjoying it, but I'm not, you know. Or in cases of human trafficking, you know, just because you see someone that you think they're enjoying it, but you don't see the guns and knives off camera. You know,
that could be to their daughter.
That could be to their daughter. You don't see the hostage situation going on behind the scenes, you know, or the threats. You know, oh, I got your mom's address. Either you do this, or we're gonna go to your mom's house and take care of business.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, you were introduced in your teens. I was introduced to pornography at the age of 9. I was a kid. I wasn't even sexually mature or puberty, as they would say. And I was at a friend's house, and they used to have the CDs. Now people get online, but they had the disc, and they put it in. I'm like, what is this? But it was like, whoa, what is this? You know, and so. Being that young, we keep talking about sex being within marriage. How far away from marriage am I that young and being introduced to something like that? Like, it's perverse, man. And just kind of talking about guarding ourselves. In my situation, it's important as parents to guard your children. You know, you are their guardian, and, you know, my parents weren't there, you know. I'm not saying like they weren't there. I'm blaming them, which there is blame.
But in this area,
But yeah, they definitely. I was at a friend's house, and I know they didn't know that was going on, but yeah, it's serious. It's out there.
It's because the foundation wasn't laid, and because we weren't taught this. So that's how the generational curses sneak in, because we don't know, so we don't teach, and we don't teach, so the next generation don't know, and they don't know it, so they go and act out in different ways, But that's kind of the reason why we're doing the podcast, so we can help teach those, so people can help know better. Because when you don't always hear sermons or stuff like this, you kind of get a little bit here, a little bit there, but no one's really going in depth, and it's various reasons. I'm not trying to, hammer pastors. They got a serious job to do, right? And other pressures and stuff like that. It's a whole different animal, different ball game. Right. But one of the things that we have the room to do with this podcast is that, or the show is that we can address these issues in depth, and really tackle them without any fear of, oh my God, we're gonna lose our congregation, or I shouldn't say it like that. I'm sorry, but we don't have that pressure of having to lose donors or having to lose people in that regard, right?
I would say, too, some practical things to do to combat that and to even overcome it is, as a married man, if you're married, confess it to your spouse.
Yes.
Knowing that this is one of my accountability partners, right? Confessing it to her brings it to the light, and you have to know that I might have to tell her again if I do this again. Now the pressure's on, having an accountability partner outside of her, but someone who is not doing it. If it's two of y'all and y'all doing it, it ain't gonna work. No. Because you're gonna fall, they're gonna fall, they may fall because you fell, and then you're gonna coddle it. Sin should not be coddled. It is wicked, it is evil, and we need to see it as such. And so, yes, there is forgiveness for sins, but it is a very wicked sin. There needs to be accountability there. And then, of course, I don't even know if we have it in the notes, but David said, how can a young man keep his ways pure? By keeping them according to God's word. He's hidden God's word in his heart so he may not sin against him. So just knowing what the word says, getting in the word, and prayer.
Yeah, especially because the lust of the eyes can be so subtle. Like, not even just talking about pornography. It can just be that woman at the grocery store. And they don't even have to be, scantily clad. Like, they can be in full, jeans and a t-shirt. But just something about that day and the way the light hits that hair, and you're like, man, what I could do with her? Oh, man, I'm in trouble. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, for you to do that 1, 2, 3, or for you to, do whip, right? Or that second look, now I gotta gaze and no, now you don't kill yourself.
We live in such a society. I mean, I would ask you guys, right? And hopefully not. My wife and I have a rule of thumb. If we put a movie on and it shows breast or anybody naked, man or woman, it's cut off. We're done, right?
Actually, thanks for reminding me about that, because I meant to tell you that there's a website called movieguide.org, and that'll tell you, like, they review the movies ahead of time and stuff like that. Or
I think we'll get on that one. Or we get on parents. We do that now. Parents Guide and IMB, whatever you call it. But, sometimes we'll be in a hurry to watch a movie. It look good. We don't think there's going to be anything.
Yeah, we do that. So sometimes I got hit with that too. We're like, oh, that looks innocent enough. Whoa, wait, nope, sorry, not.
And so what I'm getting at is talking to the people is how many people who can confess right now watching this that you've watched a movie and it'll show a woman's breast or something like that, and you just keep watching it like, and you may be like, oh, that's gross, but I'm gonna keep watching it. Or you may see it, and
how many Game of Thrones fans are in church,
and you might not think of anything when you watch it. It's so normalized in this culture that, I mean, what Jesus is telling them to guard themselves from, it's everywhere. It's like you look outside
pervasive.
And be like, whoa,
It's so pervasive. Yeah, man, that's talking about the lust of the eyes, man. It's tough, but where for every temptation, Jesus provides a way out, and it's really in Himself.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
Absolutely.